Hey there, for any of you that actually purchase a Predator 420 motor and you're looking to snatch the governor out of it, you got to do a couple things to make sure you don't blow the motor up and kill the valve train. These are the original push rods. See how skinny they are? It's the chromoly push rod replacement from Vegas Carts. Definitely needed, definitely upgraded. Especially if you're looking to run some upgraded rockers or eventually run an upgraded camshaft with hardened faces. It's the original stamped steel rocker, pretty standard Chinesium crap. Sits on top of this shaft, threads right in. You do all your valve lash adjustments right on top of that shaft. So you got to sit there and you play around, you do a lot of screwy things with it. These are the champion ones. Saddled together, they don't need a guide plate. You adjust the valve lash right here at the tip. Most of the time, once you adjust it, never have to really adjust it again, just do some minor checks. Much beefier. You can see the thickness of the wall of the actual rocker arm itself. Studs thread in. They're joined together. Definitely consider this upgrade if you're going to pull the governor out of your motor. Another addition you're going to need to add when you pull that governor out is to replace the valve springs. I've already replaced them in this motor with some upgraded 35-pound springs, but you can see just a minor little bit of force of my hand, I can crush the factory springs. You don't replace them, you start running them high revs, there goes your valve float. One final thing, if you want a little bit more gusto out of your motor when you get it out, factory these things are tuned pretty lean and you have no way of adjusting the idle circuit. Replace the carburetor with something like this from, I got this one from Vegas Carts. You have an idle air adjustment screw right here so you can tune it for your altitude or for your weather conditions. Right here on the factory one, it's got nothing. It is what it is, it's set like it's set. Another advantage is this one comes with a larger main jet, so it's already richened up, which should help cold starts and aid in getting that little extra performance from all the other upgrades you've been doing. To install these rockers is pretty easy. Got a couple studs here that go into the old holes. I'll put a little smidge of Loctite on them, just because I can. Thread them down, there's no wrench needed, nothing like that. Thread them down until they bottom out. A little bit more Loctite. I'm just using regular old Quick Stick 248. Thread that right down in there. You'll feel it bottom out. You ain't gotta go crazy, no retarded tweaking or anything gotta go on. Now we want to go ahead and put the push rods in. I use some assembly lube like Permatex Ultra Slick. Slide them right on down so you feel them engage. Never have too much lube. Kind of give them a little jiggle, make sure they're seated. If you really look down on the bores, you can pretty much see what's going on. And then I'll put a little bit more assembly lube on the bottom of the rocker arms where they contact. Now the rocker shafts, they just kind of slide down over the studs. Just kind of get them down, try to get your rocker arms aligned so that it picks up the push rods. There we go. a little bit more effort than it should have been, but alright, they're on. Now you're provided with these two nuts that go on top of the studs you threaded in. Kind of take a little eyeball. Make sure your lash adjusters are sitting on top of the valve stems. Kind of snug back and forth, finger tight for right now. And I do believe there's a torque spec on these. I think it's 17 foot-pounds or something. I'm just going to use the good old German way of doing it and call it Guten tight. This motor hasn't been run yet anyway, so after I do a little bit of a break-in, I'll probably pop the valve cover and check all this stuff. Now the valve specs for this, the valve lash specs, say it's 5 thousandths. Got your good old feeler gauge. This motor's already at top dead center because I've still got the side cover off. I can look at my timing marks on the camshaft. If not, you can play the, there's plenty of videos out there to tell you how to find top dead center. I just back these off until you can get your feeler gauge in there. About this point, I guess I need a screwdriver. There are some things floating around on the internet that say that it's a couple thousandths on one side, a couple thousandths on the other side. I don't know, for my motocross days, motorcycle days, loose valves, happy valves, slappy valves make power. So I'll probably run these a little looser than on the loose side. I know I saw someone put a video out that it was, you know, they like 5 thousandths on both sides. I saw a forum where one of the known engine builders spec'd 2,000 on the intake and 3,000 on the exhaust. You're all big boys and girls. You do what you want. I'm gonna run with 5 thousandths. Slide it in there. I'm going to turn the adjuster till I get a little bit of drag. Yeah, I'm starting to get some drag. It's still sliding nice and easy. Alright. I think it's getting pretty tight. I'll run my lock nut down. Lock nut's a 10 millimeter. So you can see my 5 thousandths slides right in, no effort. I've got a little bit of drag on it. We'll do the same thing for the intake side. A little bit of drag on her. That's a little too much. Right there. Run the lock adjuster. Lock nut down. Give the lock nut a nice little tweak. Now you got to be careful when you tighten this lock nut. You watch that your lash adjuster doesn't move on you. All right. I'm happy with that. There you go. I mean that's all there is to it. That's how you put the Champion heavy-duty rocker arms on. I'm running the 35-pound springs underneath it, and I've got chromoly push rods. One thing to note that the chromoly push rods, when you order, you need to order the longer push rods. I believe they're 6.74 inches versus the factory 6.5. Luckily, the place I was ordering from, Vegas Carts, they caught my mistake because I didn't know, and it wasn't really annotated well on their website that if you want the heavy-duty rocker arms, that you need to have longer push rods. I'm probably sure it was probably there somewhere, but a big old dummy like me missed it. So, all right, there you go. Rocket arm install.